You are going to meet a superstar today. Yes, I said a superstar. And she's like all humble. No, no, no. But she is. Nancy Boren, welcome to what we don't have a name for this program yet. Eric Rhoads Live, I guess, is what it is.
Yeah.
Nancy, Nancy, as you can see from the paintings behind her, is a fabulous artist, and she has a lot of different approaches and a lot of different styles. What are you going to do for us today, Nancy?
Well, I'm going to do something I don't do very often. I thought I would try and experiment. I have a forest interior in mind, and I've painted a lot of transparent colors that I have let dry, and I'm going to come back with the sky and cut into all of that with the branches and the sky holes and see how it turns out.
Oh, that'll be fun. That's exciting. I'm painting trees right now and suffering, so I'm anxious to learn.
Trees are terrific.
So we'll have you back in just a second. All right.
Okay.
Glad you're here. Nancy Boren is our guest today, and I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher of Fine Art Connoisseur, Plein Air magazine. And I run a little business called Streamline Art, and we do art magazines, art newsletters, art conferences, virtual art conferences, art retreats, instructional videos, products for artists, books, you name it. We've got it all. Well, there's more we need to do because we're trying to be kind of like Disneyland for artists, give you things to do, give you things to help you learn, entertain you, help you grow. Today is day number 259. That means we have been in this chair right here every day at 12 noon for 259 days. Hard to believe. And we did this at the beginning of coronavirus quarantine because we thought we'd give you something for a couple of weeks to keep you busy. So that couple of weeks has turned into, well, a little bit more than a couple of weeks. I'm just saying. And of course, some of us are back into lockdown. Now, I'm coming to you live from my art studio in Austin, Texas, and we are pretty much free. We're all being very socially responsible. We're masking. We're being careful. So we're not locked down. We don't know if that's going to happen again or not. They say in Texas, they're not going to lock us down again, but you never know. And some of you are, and we're sorry for that, but we're trying to keep you busy, keep you thinking about good things, positive vibes, and just feeling good about yourself. The goal here is to lift your spirits, expose you to new ideas, teach you painting, maybe improve your painting. And that's what we're doing every day at 12 noon. We're on here 5 days a week, 12 noon. It was 7 days a week for 7 months. But after that, I had to go to 5 days a week just because my body needed rest. Anyway, 12 noon weekdays. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, soon to be on Twitch, soon to be on LinkedIn. And we're on every day at 12 noon. But just search Streamline Art and you'll find us. Also, if you want to see everything we've done, everything is on YouTube, all 259 days, and you'll find us at YouTube, and you can subscribe there. I've got big news. We hit over, my goal 2 weeks ago was to hit over 60,000 subscribers, and we're at 60,500 as of this morning. Thank you, applause, cheers. I'm very grateful for that. So now we got to hit 70. We got to take one goal at a time. Next step is 70. When we get to 100,000, we get a plaque, and that's pretty cool. That's kind of in the internet world. That's kind of a status symbol. Now, the guys that have, millions, they get a whole different plaque. And Joe Rogan this morning posted a picture of a really spectacular plaque that he got for hitting 10 million. So we got a long way to go. Anyway, we want to tell the world about art, and this is a great way to do it. So go to YouTube, search Streamline, and hit subscribe. And that'll be a great thing for you because you'll have access to all the content. Now, we do 2 things every day. 12 noon, it's me, 5 days a week, and 3 p.m. every day, 7 days a week. I come back on and I give you instructional art videos that we have produced, segments of those, interviews with the artists, etc. And we also give you discounts on that particular day of what we're offering. Okay. Now today, this is going to be a classic for you. It was produced by Lilidol many years ago, but very, very valuable. Robert Johnson is a fabulous floral painter, and you're going to see dahlias. And hopefully Robert will be on the comments answering questions. And of course, you'll have an opportunity to get this classic Lilidol video at a deep discount today only. He's also got a couple of other videos at Lilidol Art Video. So that's what we've got for you today. We've actually got several of them. And so that'll be today at 3 p.m. So watch Robert Johnson. Now, today, what have we got going on? Well, we have a winner. We offered yesterday a subscription to Plein Air Magazine's digital edition. And the winner is Jenny Parthenos from Australia. All right, Jenny. We're getting people all over the world tuning in every day, and we love it. And what the best part is, if you're an artist in any other country or in America, quite frankly, and you have other artist friends, when you make comments or when you share the program, others get exposed to it, and that helps us reach a deeper audience, and it helps us spread this positive word across the world. You know, we started out, we had, you know, I think the first one or two people were, we had Maggie Hernandez in Saudi Arabia. We had Linda in Italy. My brain is, and Mustafa in Egypt. And then they started sharing, and all of a sudden now we're getting more in Italy, more in Egypt, et cetera. And so that's where it really is helpful. And so when you have other artist friends, tell them about this, because they too could be enjoying it and also improving their skills as an artist. Now, today's prize is the easel brush clip. Do I have one handy? Right here. I keep it on my easel. I guess I could clip it to my microphone. Too heavy for the microphone. Anyway, the easel brush clip. Mine has paint all over it because I use it all the time, but essentially it goes on your easel, right? It clips onto your easel, and it's great for plein air painting or studio painting. I keep one on my easel. Actually, I keep two on my easel here in the studio. I've got them on my easels at the other studio, and I've got them on the easels at the sound stage, the easel where we shoot the videos. Put them on my plein air easel, etc. Anyway, you can win one. And the way to win it is to make a comment. We prefer, you don't have to, but we prefer you say where you're from. That way, we like to know where people are tuning in from. And of course, it's also nice to encourage guests like our guest today, Nancy, to be able to tell her where people are watching from and to be able to answer questions. And so we pick from after the replays, we pick from all the comments. And so if you're watching on any platform, any comments, we see them all, and then we go in there and randomly pick. And so you can win your own easel brush clip. All right. Now, coming up, let's see here. Coming up the 31st of this month, which will get away from us quickly because of Christmas and all the things related to Christmas. The Plein Air Salon art competition is going to be ending on the 31st for this month. And you have a chance of winning monthly prizes, cash prizes, and you have a chance of winning $15,000 annual cash prize. So we got about 30 grand in total prizes, and you would get the cover of Plein Air Magazine, or depending on what you win, if you're a runner-up or something, you're getting a story, you're getting exposure. It's really great for your career. We've watched a lot of people's careers soar after winning this award, and you can take your best paintings. They don't have to be new. They don't have to be fresh. Other competitions require that they're from the same year. We always wondered why. That just seems, I think, you know, a good painting is a good painting. So anyway, we'd love to have you participate. Go to pleinairsalon.com, enter before the 31st of the month. We have a free gift for you. If you're tuning in today for the first time, we have a video. You can get it on streaming, or you can get a DVD. It's called 97 Amazing Painting Secrets from the World's Best Artists. We went through a lot of the videos we produced and just pulled some really great tips. And if you haven't got this yet, it's yours, our gift to you. It's a $100 value, and we'll give it to you absolutely no cost. If you are getting the DVD, we ask you pay the $6 or $7 shipping. And of course, streaming is where a lot of people still streaming. A lot of people are mostly streaming, but we still have. I'll bet half or more than half of the people still get DVDs. So that's cool for you, and we would love to offer it to you as our gift. Speaking of gifts, we have tons of things available for you. If you go to streamlinepublishing.com and hit everything, you'll see everything we do. You'll see our newsletters, our TV channel, our products, our magazines, our events, our streaming events, etc. And that's where you can find out what we've got. We also have things like our plein air apron, the art marketing book, and lots of other things. So anyway, that's happening. Also, I should mention that the Russia trip is of the 47 seats, I think we have 11 left. And that's going fast. So if you're thinking about getting in there, that would be terrific. I'm looking around for water. I forgot to bring some in, so excuse me for coughing. All right, so that's going to be a fun trip. Just go to paintrussia.com. And speaking of fun trips, Colorado Plein Air Convention looks like it's going to be able to take place this year. Fingers crossed. We don't know, but we had to cancel it twice. We're working on May for Denver, Colorado, and the price goes up on February 14th. So you still have plenty of time, but there's a limit on how many people we can take. Of course, before cancellation, we were pushing 1,000, 1,100, something like that. And we were close to a sellout. So if you think you're going to want to go ahead and get your ticket while the price is low. Yeah, that rhymes. And then also just know we have 100% money back guarantee. In the event we have to cancel, you will be able to get your money back. In the event we can't hold the event, or you can't come for whatever reason because of COVID. So just keep that in mind. Now, speaking of virtual events, we have a big one coming up, and I'll just play this for you because it's the easiest thing to do.
Have you ever wanted to learn to paint in watercolor but don't think you have the talent? Most master artists will tell you that painting is a skill anyone can learn. If you follow a process, you too can paint beautiful artwork. You could spend $3,000 or more to attend a live workshop or convention. Or you could learn from the world's finest for a fraction of the cost at Watercolor Live, the world's first virtual online art conference devoted to water media. 3 days of world-class artists demonstrating in portraiture, landscapes, still life, the human figure, cityscapes, color mixing, and more. Get to know other artists and instructors personally through our breakout sessions, and we'll even paint and draw together at the end of each day in the safety of your own home. Make new friends in our breakout sessions. Paint with hundreds of others. Get private access to our exclusive members group to become part of our community, and learn to take your artwork to a higher level. Watercolor Live, 3 full days of watercolor instruction from the world's best, January 28th to 30th. And for people who want to learn painting from scratch, start with our Beginner's Day on January 27th. Soon you'll be painting faces, people, flowers, scenery, objects, and other subjects. You'll see your artwork improve faster as you learn from top artists and instructors from all over the world. Make history as part of the world's first watercolor art conference. Sign up today and join the world as we learn art together from these amazing artists. Joseph Zbukvich, Linda Daly Baker, Jean Peterson, Mario A. Robinson, John Salmonen, Thomas W. Schaller, Suni Warren, Matthew Bird, Andy Evenson, Michael Holter, Pablo Rubin, Daniel Marshall, Lauren McCracken, Angus McEwen, Kim Minikello, Ian Stewart, Brenda Swenson, Keiko Tonabe, Stephen Zhang, Birgit O'Connor, Shuang Li, Antonio Masi, Larry Moore, Glenn Knowles, and many more to come. Why not use this time to learn a new skill so you can amaze your friends and family with your paintings? Watercolor Live, from the publishers of Plein Air Magazine and American Watercolor. Sign up by January 10th and save up to $500 off the retail price.
We have a rule. We only pick the best. Sometimes we pick people who are internationally known. Sometimes we pick people who need to be internationally known, but we pick people who we consider to be the best of the best. And we also have a couple other rules. First off, they need to be generous people. They need to be generous, giving, really sweet people, because we want them, especially when we're in our in-person environments like the Plein Air Convention, we want them to be there for you, to be giving. And if we find out that somebody is cranky and difficult, it's just not what we're looking for, So we are very careful about that, and we're trying to give you the best of the best. And that's why Watercolor Live is going to be a really great experience. The third thing that we look for are people who are really great teachers. It's one thing to be able to paint. It's another thing to be able to teach. And so when we find people who are people we use for our videos or for our conventions and so on, we always try to find out people can really, really teach. And, once in a while we get it a little wrong, and sometimes people are so good. People want to watch them paint, but they're not really great at teaching. But usually we're trying to get people who can really teach well. So that's kind of what the rule looks like. Watercolor Live is going to be the 28th through 30th. 27th is beginner day, which is great if you're just a beginner. Just take that alone and nothing else. You'll enjoy it. Go to watercolorlive.com and sign up before the end of my banner is blocking things. I can't even tell what it says there. I'm going to have to fix that. It says sign up before January 24th to save up to $300. All right, now I'll put it back. Now, also should mention to you that our guest tomorrow is going to be a really terrific one as well, and that's Marla Braghetta. And you're going to get to see her, and that'll be kind of fun. But first, we're going to go to Nancy Boren, and just to give you a sense of Nancy's work, she's got a lot of really terrific variety, and love these with the glow from the light. A lot of, you can really tell how creative someone is when you look at a variety of their work, and she's just got lots of different variety. I think you're going to really enjoy that. That's a wonderful piece. Loves to do things with balloons and lighted objects. Wow, look at that light. That's just incredible. I think I showed that one. This is the video we did with her. It's called Light, Motion, and Drama. This is just a really, really beautiful image, and really can learn a lot from her. Please welcome Nancy Boren. Are you there, Nancy?
I am here.
All right, terrific.
I'm here.
Oh, I see your hand. Okay. Yeah. Well, I've brought you full screen. Yeah, it's like talk to the hand.
Does that look good? Can you see everything?
Yeah, it looks terrific. Thank you. So you're going to take, looks like you've kind of laid in, tell us what you've done and then what you're going to do here.
Okay, this looks like kind of a crazy mess, but my idea was to do a very transparent dark layer. I did it a week ago. I let it dry and then come back with the sky and cut in and create all these shapes of the trees with all the sky holes. And the nice thing about that is, since the layer underneath is dry, I can use a little color shaper, which is kind of like a miniature squeegee. It's real rubbery. And I can hopefully scrape through and then show the dark again to create some of the twigs. So this is kind of an experimental idea for me, because this is a painting that I want to do larger. And so I thought I would try, this is a 12 by 16. Thought I would try this before I attempted the larger one. I'll show you the colors.
You're pretty gutsy lady to experiment in front of thousands of people.
Well, it's just a painting. It's not that, well, I don't think I'm really that brave, but I have made every mistake anybody can possibly make with painting. And so everyone needs to know that it doesn't just happen by magic. You really do have to try and fail sometimes to learn things. So here are the colors that I used to create this. I tried to pick all transparent colors or semi-transparent. I have olive green, viridian, quinacridone, I never know if I'm saying that right, magenta, Indian yellow, ultramarine, and transparent oxide brown, and alizarin. So
okay, so I see, just off the top of my head, I see Holbein, Rembrandt, Gamblin, and Jack Richardson brands.
Yes. I use all different brands of paint. I think all of them.
I think we all do.
Yeah, great things about them. I do dearly love the Rembrandt transparent oxide brown. I know a lot of people.
You know, every once in a while, there's a color that kind of becomes a staple for most artists, and that one, I don't know if that was started by Richard Schmidt or before that, but Richard uses Rembrandt transparent oxide brown and transparent oxide red in a lot of his underpaintings, and as a result, it's kind of become a staple for everybody.
Yes. He can do the red in such a beautiful way. To me, the red is a little stronger color and it's harder to use. So the brown is a reddish brown and the asphaltum is a yellowish brown, which is a really nice transparent color they make also. Now I have my reference photo here. These trees are on some property that my husband and I own where we're going to build a retirement home. And so I have a real emotional attachment to this little piece of property. And this is a group of 5 trees off in the corner. And I think trees have a real dignity and a nobility, and they're alive, and they're very challenging. So I wasn't wanting to paint a super realistic portrait of this group of trees. With this painting, I want to do it more designy, more arty, maybe. I'm not quite sure what the right term would be. So we'll just kind of get started and see what happens here. Now, you can see I have big sky holes lower down, and then some of this is just almost covered by twigs. So if you squint your eyes and look at that, it's almost a halftone, all those twigs in the sky. Mm-hmm. So if I start here with some of this, and if I use the palette knife and don't have a lot of paint, I can get some really nice texture because it's just picking up the texture of the canvas. And at the bottom, of course, it's going to be warmer. This is where the sun just went down behind these little trees. And what I try to tell students a lot of times is when you have a long vertical, and it's the same on a figure painting, if you have a long arm or a finger, I've got a long sky hole here. Instead of painting it with the form, try to paint across the form. If you go across, then you get more interesting edges.
I see.
Same as painting a telephone pole or anything when you're out plein air painting. Sometimes it's really nice to do it that way instead of cutting right along the edge there.
Okay. So, hello, Poland and Canada and Alaska and England. You're getting an international, awesome. You're getting a good start here.
That's awesome because I was born in Anchorage and I love Alaska so much. Oh. So hello, cool. Alaska.
I was not a painter when I went to Alaska. I'm anxious to go back, and I just go up and spend 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know how I can find that time.
I have not painted in Alaska either.
So question for you. Question for you. You put all this stuff in knowing you were going to have all these sky holes and lay in stuff over sky. Why not just make a big sky and lay it over that instead of putting it in later?
Well, I could, but you get good things when you do it both ways. If you put the sky in first and then you paint the trees, you're getting positive shapes over that. And when you come in like this with your negative shapes, you get a much more interesting. See how these twigs are starting to look really interesting instead of straight like they would have been had I done it the other way. And you can do a lot of paintings with a combination of painting positive and negative spaces.
Well, when you paint trees and you paint a forest area, if you look at it, I mean, it's just chaos. There's sticks and twigs everywhere. But when we paint them, we tend to make it a little too perfect.
Well, you've got to focus on something. You've got to try to make sense out of it somehow. So you want to find your biggest shapes, of course, as always. And if you've got a big tree trunk, that helps a lot. And that's one reason I selected this big group of 5 trees as opposed to a distant tree with lots of foliage. It's really difficult for me to organize all that green foliage. It's just kind of something you have to train yourself to do, to see the big shapes within that, like everything else. But I've painted so many figure paintings in my life. That's kind of my first love.
I love the texture you get when you lay that palette knife down, so it's very uneven. That's nice.
Oh, I know. It's I have used palette knife. I like that a lot. And see, you're almost creating the feeling of the chaotic twigs in the background there, and all I did was do it with the knife.
Yeah.
So if you have a little successful area, then I need to remember that when I get up here where I have lots of twigs.
Right. Hello,
So
Ireland.
Oh, hi, Ireland. That's someplace
I don't want to interrupt you, but I like to make sure everybody gets acknowledgement for being in here. Ireland, we need you to share this so all your other Irish friends will pick it up.
I would love to go to Ireland because some of my ancestors were from the Isle of Arran, which is kind of between Scotland and Ireland. And I have gone back in after I did this underpainting, and you can see where I have some guidelines I've put in for my trees, so I wasn't struggling while I was here with you all trying to figure out where I was going to place things. And then also these trees have some broken branches. As you can see, they're kind of stubs. Yeah. So I'm going to feel very free to extend those branches if I feel like the design warrants it. Or I'm going to use them as stubs. The stubs kind of give it a character. Oh, now see, I'm not thinking, and I have taken my orange too high.
I was just thinking that. I was wondering about that.
Yes, that's what happens when I talk when I should be painting.
Well, see, people really get upset with me, and I start telling them things about their paintings, so I have to just learn to be quiet.
So that's okay. No, if you see me going off in the wrong direction, say so.
Well, who's to say if it's the wrong direction, right?
I know. And I did want to point out something to people that I think is really inspirational. And that is this wonderful book called The Art of Landscape Painting in Oil Color by Sir Alfred East. A friend of mine found this in its original edition 25 years ago when we were out in Salt Lake at a rare bookstore. And it's now been reprinted because it's been deemed culturally significant.
Where do you get it?
And there's lots of great, you can just order it on Amazon for like $14 or something. And there's lots of wonderful landscape books out there. Of course, the Richard Schmid book is wonderful, and Edgar Payne, so many. But it's interesting to see what this man said in 1910 about painting in England. And he has a lot of inspirational ideas besides practical advice. Here's one: don't try to be sincere, but be so. And be strong. I like that. There's a difference between trying to be sincere and actually being sincere. So think about your sincere inspiration. What is it about this subject that moves you? And to me, it's the complexity and the dignity and the nobility of trees. Trees are just so fantastic, and they are so inspirational and make so many people feel good. I think that a lot of people relate to that. And here's a really good quote: your business is to express big thoughts, big ideas by big means. Now, I really like that a lot, but that puts a responsibility on me to be big. What is my big thought, my big idea, my big means? And one other quote, since we are painting sky, he has a whole chapter on the sky. And in this case, the sky is just back there. It's not a big, beautiful open sky. But at the same time, I think this is really important to remember. The essential truths of the sky are its immensity, its infinity, and its purity. So I'm going to try to remember that forever, every time I paint a sky. So even these little bits I'm painting, I've got to think that this is this huge, wonderful arc coming over the whole earth. And the sun has gone down and there's millions of bits of reflected light hitting all those little dust beams in the air. And that's what's making this orange glow that's fading up here to this soft turquoise. So immensity, infinity, and purity. So I'm going to get some of my orange here. And I think this was really 2 little trees. I'm going to try to suggest that. And then I have another row of trees back there that I kind of want to leave because I want this to feel like you're inside of a forest.
All right.
And this little tree here, I have brought all the way down to the bottom and it's going off of the page. So that helps you feel like you're looking around that little tree in here. You don't have to clear everything out at the bottom. I could bring several more saplings down to the ground here, and that would help give me this enclosed feeling of the interior. And the real trick to doing something with underpainting like this is to get the first layer dark enough. I have done things like this before, not of trees, and you don't get this dark enough. And then you put your lights on there and you realize, oh no, this is washed out. And maybe in this case, I have it almost too dark because this looks very colorful now. When I put the light here, this almost looks black in here. So that's why I wanted to do this 12 by 16 as an experiment for my larger piece. That would be one way I could kind of gauge the values. And we all know values are more crucial than anything, more than color. And so, although color is the icing on the cake, whoops.
So what are the principles if you're laying in a sense of sunlight? You've started out with, looks from what I can tell here, with an orange, and then you've kind of gone to a light yellow ochre, and then you're kind of moving up towards a green and then the blue. Is that kind of?
Yes, because we've got the sunset, and where it's going through the twigs here, it's very kind of burnt sienna, orangey, yellow, golden. Then the sky went golden. And then finally at the top, it was a lovely greenish, bluish, turquoise color because all the warmth of that sun is going down behind that horizon. So somehow you have to translate all that's going on just into what are these little strokes of paint that I'm going to put on here. And so very simply, that's kind of how I came up with that. And I've got this orange going way too high here, Eric. You didn't tell me that.
I didn't see it. How large will you paint if you're going to make this into a bigger painting?
How big did you say?
Yeah. How big?
I was thinking about not anything really giant. 20 by 24 is what I was thinking about.
All right.
So
I've been working on a 30 by 40 and it's just driving me nuts. It's so big every time.
Oh my God. Oh, you're brave. I've done some 30 by 40s and I may be doing a 48 by 48 coming up, but oh, it gets big and you have to mix up so much more paint. You have to use a bigger brush and all kinds of things.
So Jeff Wang said the other day, he said, small painting, big brush, big painting, small brush.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I don't know quite what he means by that. But I'm sure he had something in mind. And then when you hit the little globs of paint, it does things that you're not anticipating, but it actually turns out looking good.
Yeah, I like it.
And who knows? My mind may change as I go along because it frequently does. Something in the painting will suggest something to me that I hadn't really thought about. But you do have to be kind of flexible. But when I get back now and squint my eyes, my gosh, it kind of looks like a sunset behind these trees.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? Look that way. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
you're
exciting.
even getting a sense of light hitting the ground just because you now know that sun is back there.
Yeah, and I kept this foreground a little bit lighter in value, and I used more of my Indian yellow up here. In real life, this is just all twigs, and there's some light twigs in front of the darks. And so another tip for painting something like this, whether you're doing a field of grass or twigs, if you have darks, go ahead and put some in. Then you can come back not with this color, but with some of your twigs, and it looks good. If you just paint your twig first, and then you paint a little dark and another twig, you just end up with a mess. This will be much, much easier, and it will look a lot better.
All right.
And in some of these places, of course, I want the color underneath to show through just because it makes it more interesting. Up here, I had a lot of yellow, and that's okay. Maybe those are leaves blowing in the wind. Maybe those are birds. I don't know. I don't care. It's just some kind of atmosphere that might be there. But I do want to.
I was looking at the sunrise this morning, and the sun was shining through the trees, and it exploded with sky holes. Much more than I normally would notice. You know, it's going through every little leaf, and that's kind of the effect it looks like there when you lay it in like that.
Well, my goal was to really save some of this dark stuff out here for all the twigs, and so far I like those areas really well. Now let's see, when I get up here, I want to try to keep, okay, I've got this, I don't want to lose where that branch is. I kind of put a few little things like a road map here. So I'm right up here because I like that one Y.
Yeah.
And now I kind of want to, and the great thing, okay, let me just go ahead and try this with my color shaper. Let's just try this now and see what I've got.
Okay, cool. Because you laid it up. So you laid it over dark. Now you'll be able to pull out the dark oh, that's very clever.
Yeah, well, I sure didn't invent it.
Well, I use one of those too, but I usually use it to remove something that I've screwed up.
Right. I do that a lot, Eric.
I guess if you wanted a sharper edge, you could use the back of a brush or something, right?
Yes, you could do that. And I'll show you something else that I use frequently that
right.
really works good. Oh, no, here it is. I have so much stuff you're going to hear crashing. It's a piece of a squeegee blade, but it's not in the squeegee. Okay. And so these are awesome. They take the paint off like crazy, sometimes more than you want. Let's see what this does here. Well, when you have the white, the light over the dark, it may leave a little scum. So that may not be the best thing, but when you're just regularly painting, and see, because this is pretty dry, I can clean that off with a little Gamsol, and I have that nice color underneath.
Yeah.
That's kind of the secret here. You got to let this dry underneath. And I did want to say too, that when I did this, I used Gamsol to thin the paint, but I also added some stand oil because this is a linseed oil that's been treated. But when you water your colors down a lot with Terp, Gamsol, paint thinner, you take all the binding out of the pigment, and you want that film layer to be really solid. So if you put some kind of medium or oil back in there, you're adding oil to help keep the pigments bound together. So that's always a good thing.
All right. Suspending the pigment in oil.
Yes, you don't want to take all of it away. Now I've got a nice skinny little sky hole right there. I like how rough this is looking. We'll see. Okay, now I'm not going to have very much paint on the back of my palette knife to attempt this.
Oh, and of course that really works.
And after I get this done, I can come back with a brush and delineate some of these little twigs in areas that I think are really important. But But now if you squint your eyes, that area kind of looks like a halftone between the lightest of the sky and the trees, which is kind of what I wanted.
Yeah, and yet you don't have to render every branch.
No. I like this feeling. I think it's Richard Schmid who says, I'm not painting these trees, I'm painting my experience of these trees. And I think that is just such a wonderful idea. If you want a perfect image, go take a picture of it and be done. But I want people to see how magical I felt like this little forest is. I have done whole skies, just teeny weeny bit like this with a palette knife, and putting more and more pigment on there. Of course, you've got to have canvas on here. This is a masonite board with oil primed linen canvas glued to it with Miracle, which is what I usually use. I buy big rolls of canvas.
Did you say Miracle muck is what you use to adhere?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Because it's archival and it works well. And then some of these little circles, I used my color shaper back when the paint was wet, and I just put it on there and turn it into a circle. And you kind of end up with like a little sequin of light. So I was just trying to make different kinds of texture that would be underneath, and a lot of it will get covered up, but there will be little bits of interesting things, hopefully, all along the way. And now here, see, I'm going to probably cover that little guy up, but I need to create a branch here. And then as I stood there a couple of weeks ago and looked at this forest scene, the tree branches up away, let me get out a brush here. The tree branches that are away from the sunset, I could very clearly see a blue edge on the limbs. And I think in a lot of Sargent's watercolors, he very clearly shows the blue coming through on the edges. Now there's
blue
just a little
coming
bit
through on the edges of the branch.
Yes, because it's kind of an optical illusion. When you look at something that's silhouetted against the light sometimes creeps around the object.
Yeah.
Like down here at the sunset, all these twigs, some of these need to be real red because the sunlight just turns them red. The light just is so strong it comes around. Well, maybe the sky, the coolness of the sky is so clear, it turns some of this bluish. I don't know. And of course, I wear glasses. My vision is not the greatest, Eric. But I'm painting my experience of these trees. And so if I was seeing blue around some of these sky holes, then heck, that's what I was seeing. So then once you start making some of the trees, I got some cooler bits. And then of course, I'm going to have more warm on the trunk down here because some of this light from the ground is coming up. It kind of starts to get more and more interesting, I think, color-wise. So I'm going to try to just kind of leave that alone right now, but I'm going to kind of clean some of this up.
So we're at about the 12-minute mark, just so you have a feel for time.
Okay. Well, this painting's not going to be finished. There's no way.
Well, of course.
And let's see if I can get this big sky hole suggested here. That would be nice. And then everyone who writes about trees talks about paint them the way they grow. So if you're painting it positively, you've got your brush down here, start at the bottom, paint it out the way it grows. And then you can even use the edge of your palette knife, of course, to make some very tiny, skinny little twigs out there. So there's lots of good advice and tips in the world for dealing with these really complex objects that are trees. And these trees are all alive. That's the amazing thing. And they don't care about COVID. Isn't that nice? Something in the world is not concerned with that. They're like living their own lives. And we just happen to run into them every so often. In The Lord of the Rings, the trees figure so much. The the mirkwood, and then all the trees that are actually alive. And
I was
I've always
actually,
enjoyed
I took
kinds
a
of.
group to New Zealand, and we were actually in the forest where they
Oh,
filmed Lord of the Rings.
oh my gosh. Oh, wow. How fantastic. I love those books since I was a kid, and that's exciting. And I think that because I don't have as much light paint up here and I have it heavier down here, this light looks stronger, which is what I want it to do because of the sunset. And so now I think I need to just meld the coolness of the sky and the warmth a little bit more.
You know, so one of our guests here, Sheila, said she had cataract surgery in both eyes, and it totally changed the colors that she was seeing. She went from warm to cool. My wife says to me, "You need to get your cataracts taken out," because she said you make your paintings too warm.
Well, see, I have 2 cataracts too, but they're not bad enough to take off yet. So who knows
Yeah.
what color this stuff really is?
Yeah.
I have no
I
idea.
finally got permission to get mine cut out. So it's, for years it's been not bad enough, but finally got it. So I'm going to go in and get it done.
Yeah, I've heard other artists almost be reluctant to get it done because they're happy with the way their paintings are going and their collectors really like them. And it's like, oh my gosh, if I change this, what are we going to do? What if my paintings all look different? Nobody wants them. It's weird.
Oh, well.
Now, see, I think this is a mess, so I'm going to take that off. Oh, and see, this is dry, but because you rub a little too hard, it still is going to come off. So that's okay. I can go back with some darker paint. I'll just mix up something here, whip up something real quick, and put that back in. And then, you know, this trunk is too light, so I'll just go ahead. And these trunks have a darkness down in there between the trunks.
That to me looks like it's picking up reflected light, you know, that light that's hitting the ground and reflecting back up.
Yeah, I just want to define a little bit. There were 5 trees here. Yeah. And so I picked a spot in one place. They're almost lined up like you've only got 2 trees because you got 2 here and 3 here. So I kind of moved to the side so you could kind of see bits of all of them. And so, of course, I'm thinking about when I do my larger painting, I'm going to have more space and I'll want to define some of this a little bit more so that I'll be able to show that I've got multiple trees here.
Really beautiful.
And then you have to just keep squinting your eyes and seeing where your darks are the darkest. You look at all the value of the sky, then the value of this. Oh, and I did want to do this one thing real quickly here. There's a little bit of a green pasture over there. And I've got so much warm and brown and everything. I thought that looks nice. So I had mixed up a little green ahead of time. And this is an opaque color. And I don't know if it's just right, but that will kind of establish kind of where the ground is. And then some of this was coming through back here. Whenever you can have 3 shapes that are different sizes, that's good. So I like Mama, Papa, Baby Bear. So I have this Papa Bear green over here, and that's maybe Mama Bear and Tiny Baby Bear.
Really? And so anytime you lay down a big color mass, you want to have it in 3 shapes.
Well, it's helpful, you know, because it's not totally isolated. I always say I'm not doing a painting of trees. My number one thing is I'm doing a painting, and the painting has to be unified, in my opinion. You know, everybody's opinion is different, but I like to have bits of colors repeated throughout, even if it's only teeny tiny. And there are some leaves that are coming across. This was in the late fall. So I could use some of that green up here. And of course I have Viridian in here, which is still looking really strong. I have some green down here. So I already had green in the underpainting, and I want to keep using these same colors that I used in the underpainting to mix into these colors I'm using on the sky. So I did use some Indian yellow in my sky color. I want all this to be able to relate to each other. I don't want 2 totally different layers of paint. And then I'll probably use some cooler colors down here when I develop these twigs, because they are totally in the shadow. And some of them are a very light color of stem anyway. And so they almost have kind of a lavender look. Like I put a little bit on this one. You know, sometimes wood looks very lavender when it's in the shadow, if it was kind of gray. And so, okay, let's see, where are we? Okay, now let me look at the shape of these trees. See, this tree trunk looks very fat there. It really should not be like that. I think that looks ugly. So I'm just gonna barely cut this in a little bit. And it doesn't, you know, have to be perfect. Now I've got some of that stuff that looks like twigs back there, and maybe what I need is to bring this back here, make this bottom look a little thicker. Okay, maybe that's okay. And then I have this one branch that's really nice and strong here. And let me see if I can get a little tiny, teeny tiny skinny branch with the edge of my palette knife here. I've just got a little bit of paint. You don't always know if you have the right amount until you try it on here, and just laying it on like that, that's almost not quite enough. Mm-hmm. It's really amazing how many different marks you can make with fairly simple tools. But sometimes that is the best way to do skinny things. Don't try to do it all with a brush, because see, that didn't even show up. It is just too difficult. Nothing wrong with using a little bitty brush when you need a little tiny bit of preciseness. Well, well, I told you. I don't always know what I'm doing.
I just posted in the comments. I just posted a link to Nancy's video, so you can pick it up.
Awesome.
Well, this is really fantastic. I've learned so much. It's interesting, you know. I've been around painters constantly for a couple of decades, and every day I'm still picking up something new. You know, you'd think everybody's got it figured out in one way or another, but I'm seeing things that you did today that I've never seen done before.
Well, that's the beauty of painting. It can just stay with you your whole life. You can keep learning more and more things. You can paint more and more subjects. It is the activity that just never gets old.
Yeah.
Really fabulous.
Keeps you young.
Yep, it does. Or it makes you old before your time. I don't know which one it is. It depends on if you're painting a bunch of difficult trees, I guess. Oh my goodness. This tree is the biggest one, and I really like having a big solid one here. So I want to be sure and let him be dominant over these others. So as I continue to develop this, I want his two branches up here to really stand out against this tree that was in the background. So I would carefully kind of figure out about how to do that. And then I'm going to develop more small organized groups of these branches. I mean, of these little leaves. And then I could even put, some of them were out here. I could see how that could work. I'll probably cover up some of this green, fix this. But I'm kind of excited because this is kind of the idea that I wanted my painting to turn out with. And so it'll be interesting to try it on a bigger scale and to kind of see how that happens, and then to get back from it and kind of see what I think. And I can see that I want to change the shape of this branch because I like the way that is swooping there, and I didn't do that very well up there. So do you want me to keep painting a little bit, or are we about ready to go?
I think we're about ready to go.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'll quit then. I'll give it up.
Come back on camera so we can see you. A lot of people joined before they saw you in the beginning.
Okay. Well, should I turn the camera around, or should I actually turn this around?
Oh, would you do me a favor? Is take the camera real close so we can see the texture real quick.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh my gosh.
Oh, down. It went down.
Okay. Let me take it off of the stand here.
All right. Excuse me.
How about that? Can you see?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very nice. Yeah, you can really see how the canvas is impacting how that paint lays.
Right. You've got to use everything available to you, and that canvas is there for a reason. It's just fabulous if you treat it with a real light hand like that.
Mm-hmm. Terrific. All right. Well, come on camera and say goodbye.
Okay. Am I there?
You are there. You did a terrific job. I'm
Okay.
impressed. Thumbs up and
Thank you.
applause.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was
It was
really
fun being here
terrific.
today.
Nancy, I've got your website up, nancyboren.com. I posted a link to your video in the comments section. But here is a picture of the video. This is obviously a different approach and different technique, but you want to tell me just briefly about this video?
Well, I kind of recreated one of my most popular paintings called Cimarron Solstice. And it was a girl jumping. That was my main idea. I wanted to do her in front of the sunset. So I came up with a real harmonious, warm color scheme. And I wanted to create the feeling of jumping and movement. So I talk about that a lot in the video.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for being on today. It's a real pleasure. And hopefully we'll get a chance to see each other and shoot another video soon. And it'll be fun.
Sounds great.
Yeah, maybe people can post in a comment what kind of video they would want. That'd be terrific.
Okay, perfect.
And Nancy, if and when you finish that painting, we would love to have you post it in the comments so that we can see it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Terrific. Well, thank you so much.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Our guest today was Nancy Boren, and you can find her at nancyboren.com. You can find all kinds of things about her there, and that would be terrific. Remember, it's Christmas time, and every artist needs to be supported. And we need to look for ways for artists to get exposed and sell their videos or sell their shops, their work, sell their courses, anything we can do to help them. I think that would be a really terrific thing. Right. And I want to just mention to you guys also, I mentioned this the other day, very, very important to me. The statistics of restaurant failures are staggering. And we all have places that are our favorites, and we all have places we don't really care about. You know, in my particular case, I don't really care about the chains, right? Because I like local owners. We go to a place here in town called Giovanni, and Giovanni comes out and he says, Eric, you know, and he's giving me hugs, and not so much now. And so we try to order takeout from them, or we try to go there once every couple of weeks. So, you know, we're trying to take care of our locals, because locals, you know, it's all about keeping people employed. Now, even the national ones, I mean, the national ones may be owned by big corporations, but it's about local people needing jobs and tips and so on. So if you're able to support local businesses, do it. And if you're able to give bigger than normal tips, do it, because everybody's struggling through this and we want to help them out. And so do what you can. That's and I'm trying to keep my Christmas shopping local. You know, it's like, I don't need to make Jeff Bezos wealthier. I love Amazon. I buy things from Amazon all the time, but I was buying a Christmas gift the other day and I thought, can I buy that locally? Yes, it was more convenient. I could definitely pick up, you know, the phone and just buy it on Amazon. But I decided to get in the car and drive over to a local business and buy it from that local business. And I paid probably $30 or $40 more for it. And I knew I was going to do that, but I still wanted to do it because I wanted, you know, this was a camera store. I want to be able to go into that camera store and look at the products and talk to the people and understand it. And they helped me a lot. And you know, I'm not getting that same level of service from a lot of the online retailers. Some of them, yes, but I think if anything we can do to help people, and right now, if anything you can do to help other artists, artists are the soul of the world in the sense that they are bringing beauty and helping people discover the world through their eyes and seeing the world differently. And anything we can do to help any artist help them survive, help them sell a painting, help them sell, get some income, buying an online workshop from them or something. We're getting ready to launch a whole new thing. I can't tell you anything about it yet because it's not ready to be announced, but we'll announce it in a couple of weeks. And a whole new thing that's going to be, I think is going to really change the ability for artists to sell and make more money. And so we're playing with that. I'm not sure when it's all going to be done, but we're always looking for things we can do. I would love for you guys to put things in the comments. If you have ideas, email me, Eric at Plein Air Magazine, or put it in the comments, or put it somewhere, Facebook or something, Instagram, because we're looking for things that are going to help people and things that are going to get us all through this together, because that's what this is about. We have become one big giant family of artists and people who love art. Not everybody watching is an artist, but there are people who are discovering it, learning about it, trying it for the first time. We have had, as I've mentioned before, literally hundreds, if not thousands, of people who have let us know that they've picked up painting from watching these every day or from watching our 3 p.m. videos every day. And it really makes a big difference. So let's all hang together. We'll stick with you guys if you'll stick with us. And we'll be here tomorrow at 12 noon, God willing. I'm Eric Rhoads, publisher and founder of Plein Air Magazine and Fine Art Connoisseur and Streamlined Art. Thank you for being with us today. Bye-bye.